We're 8 games in. The Bills are 6-2, and it's time to give our mid-season awards. Welcome to Bill-ievers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to a mid-season edition of Bill-ievers Talk. In this episode, we are going to go through our mid-season awards for the Buffalo Bills, guys. So again, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, guys, hit that subscribe button, as Bill-ievers Talk has you covered on all Buffalo Bills news. Not only do we keep you covered on the Buffalo Bills, we also do our best to keep you covered on all Buffalo sports. So we're talking about the Buffalo Bulls, both football and men's and women's basketball. Talk about the Buffalo Sabres on a little bit of a rough patch right here, going over to Sweden to play some international hockey. So I look forward to seeing that. And also all other Buffalo sports. We're talking about the Bandits, the Buttes, whoever it might be. We keep you covered right here on Bill-ievers Talk. So again, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and again, leave a comment as I go over my midseason awards for the Buffalo Bills. Let me know who you think deserves these awards for the Buffalo Bills. In this episode, we're going to go over MVP. We're going to go over offensive and defensive players of the year. We're going to go over offensive and defensive rookies of the year. We're going to go over our most disappointing player so far this season. We're also going to go over our biggest surprise so far this season, and we'll also give you the comeback player of the year for the Buffalo Bills, the guy that last year wasn't that much, or last year maybe was on the injury reserve and then came back this year and now is having a solid year for the Buffalo Bills. And that's where we're going to start. We're going to start on the bottom and move to the top, right? I'll give my MVP last. So for the Buffalo Bills, I have the bounce back player of the year so far being Mitch Morse. I think this one was an obvious choice going into the season. Talking about center Mitch Morse, signed him in free agency from the Kansas City Chiefs. That spent a lot of time last year in Kansas City on the injured list, wasn't playing a full 16 games, so wasn't sure what we were getting when we signed him. Even this preseason and going into training camp, we were worried about that concussion, right? He got a concussion early in training camp, and then we were worried about how severe it was. Again, this was listed as his third or fourth concussion, so we know the probability of getting another concussion once you've had a few goes up. So obviously that was a concern going into the season, but so far this season, maybe he's had some dings and dents here, but has been very solid as a player, as someone who can protect Josh Allen. Not only has he done a good job protecting Josh Allen, but he also does a great job getting upfield on some of those long runs. We've seen Devin Singletary. Remember that first touchdown Devin Singletary scored? We saw Mitch Morse right there leading the way for him. So he's able to get out in the open field, make some blocks downfield, very important in the run game. And just the way he's able to shift the offensive line. Now we know we don't have the most dominant offensive line in the NFL, right? But it is better than last season's. And the way Mitch Morse is able to shift the offensive line when he sees fit, get something off the mind of Josh Allen, knowing you have a veteran center who can take that from you and say, no, I got the offensive line. I'll line them up. I'll make sure they know who they're going after, and then we'll get through this together. Instead of having Josh Allen have to focus on that pre-snap, and then after that worry about his post-snap read. So now Josh Allen has less to focus on, so he can focus on what's important for his game. Mitch Morse, a huge addition to the Buffalo Bills, and he is my bounce back player of the year. Now let's get a little negative, right? We talk about the bounce back player. We're going to be mostly positive in this episode, giving our mid-season awards for the Buffalo Bills as they start the season 6-2. And guys, don't forget, I will be giving you live play-by-play and reaction this Sunday to the game against the Cleveland Browns. So make sure you hit that subscribe button either over here or go down to the link below. Go to sportscaster.com. We have it covered with live play-by-play there as well. So whether it be here on YouTube or over on Sportscaster, check out the live play-by-play reaction to the Bills game this Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. We have you covered every single Sunday, whether it be myself over here at Bill-ievers Talk or Amar and Paul over at Hashtag Sports. Have you covered with live play-by-play and reaction to every single Buffalo Bill game this season. So we want to talk about our most disappointing player this season, and it's a guy who's no longer on a team, a guy that I was always very high on that I wish could have worked out in Buffalo, and that's going to be Zay Jones. Zay Jones was traded after week 5, and in those 5 weeks, he only had 8 receptions. So again, 7 receptions for 69 yards. Not the productivity you want to see out of a guy that you picked up in the second round, and the Bills know that, and that's why the Bills traded him to the Oakland Raiders. He's had played 2 games in Oakland, doing a little bit better so far in Oakland. We thought that might be the case. We thought it might just be a scheme thing here with Zay Jones. Again, I had high hopes for him coming into the season. season. I know some of you did too. Some of you were saying we should have dropped him during last offseason, so I understand that as well. If you want to talk about players currently on the Buffalo Bills who have been disappointing, you got to go with Tyler Kroft, right? Tyler Kroft was expected to come back from his injury, and then he re-injured another toe or foot or something like that during practice one week. Hasn't really played all that much. Would like to see him get more involved in the offense. Now this is going to be his third week playing for the Buffalo Bills, but two disappointments there for the Buffalo Bills in the 2019 NFL season. Again, let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the comment section after you're done watching this video. We move on to the biggest surprise so far for the Buffalo Bills. And this is another guy, another free agent that the Buffalo Bills picked up during the offseason on the defensive side of the ball. We're talking about a guy who came from the Miami Dolphins. We're talking about Jordan Phillips. Jordan Phillips so far in the season has 16 tackles and 6 sacks. For defensive tackles, that's top 3 in the league in sacks. I know he was tied with Sam Darnold going into last week with the most. He got one last week. He's currently on a streak of sacks, just sacking the quarterback. Had a huge hit on Dwayne Haskins this past weekend. So it was really good to see. Big surprise by Jordan Phillips. And again, Jordan Phillips is on a contract year. So hopefully Brandon Beane and the front office in Buffalo is looking at that and saying, hey, we might want to sign this guy as defensive tackle for the future. Great rotational piece that you can put in there. You talk about Jordan Phillips, you talk about Star Latuile, you talk about Ed Oliver. Get Ed Oliver more in tune with this defense and then see what happens. Speaking of Ed Oliver, you go to Defensive Rookie of the Year. And really, guys, it's process of elimination, right? We only have 3 defensive rookies on this team this year. You talk about Jaquan Johnson. You're talking about Shaq Lawson. And then you're talking about, I forget who the other one is off the top of my head. Why am I forgetting this? Bam, we have 3 defensive rookies on the Buffalo Bills, 2 of which haven't made much of an impact yet for the Buffalo Bills. And one of you, someone will let me know in the comment section which rookie I'm forgetting, but really have not made that big of an impact as of yet. Look to see more out of them as well. But Ed Oliver so far on the season has 20 tackles and that 1 sack. Not great defensive numbers, but again, process of elimination. He is going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Buffalo Bills. Then you go to Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I think there's no contest here. I know some people have looked at Dawson Knox, and listen, Dawson Knox has had some great plays, and Dawson Knox has had some drops, and we just are hot and cold with Dawson Knox, and he's a young player, so that's not a terrible thing. But there's one guy that we love in Buffalo, and to be honest, he could be listed as the Offensive Player of the Year, but as I did with my preseason awards video, I'm not going to use the same player twice through any of these, although this guy could be Devin Singletary, Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. Devin Singletary, of course, misses 2 games or 3 games due to the hamstring injury, but right now Devin Singletary has 40 carries for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 6.7 yards per carry. That's pretty darn impressive. And then you go to his receiving game, not too shabby either. 12 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. So 3 touchdowns for the rookie so far this season. That's 8.6 yards per reception, by the way, as well. So 3 touchdowns for the guy you're talking about. 370 yards for Devin Singletary so far in this season. And we're just getting used to him, right? This week was his first week as the starting running back. This past week had 20 touches. We saw what he can do. Look to see more of Devin Singletary in the second half of the season. Now that Dable has a full acclimate of all his toys, let's see how this offense really does. Consistently, I should say, getting better as this offense. I look forward to seeing that continue to happen as we move on. Defensive Player of the Year, I think there's lots of places you go. You talk about the number 3 overall defense. We're 3rd against the pass. I think we're 19th against the rush. So we need to work on that run defense a little bit. We need our defensive tackles, our defensive ends, and our linebackers to step up in that regard. But if you ask me, there's one guy that has been doing great all season long, and it's not just his stats, it's when those stats occur that are a big factor in why I think this guy is our Defensive Player of the Year. You know I love him. A lot of you guys love him as well. Tre'Davious White is our Defensive Player of the Year. You're talking about 35 tackles, a sack, and 3 interceptions. And again, not only are these three interceptions the most on the team, it's when these interceptions happen, right? Cincinnati driving down the field in a 21-17 game has a chance to either take the lead or actually just take the lead because it's going to be the 4th quarter, so they're not going to kick a field goal. So take the lead, and what happens? Tre'Davious White's there with an interception, ends the game right there. The game against Miami, we're down 14-9. If Miami goes up 21-9 in that 3rd quarter, late in that 3rd quarter, it's going to be a much tougher comeback for the Buffalo Bills, if it happens at all. Trey White on the 2-yard line gets the interception, and the Bills travel 98 yards to score a touchdown to go up and to stay up the rest of the game. So Tre'Davious White, my defensive player of the year so far for the Buffalo Bills. Again, let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section. Again, this is the top 3 defense. You can go with Jordan Poyer, who currently leads the team in tackles. You can go with Tremaine Edmonds, who leads the league in total tackles. There's a bunch of different ways you can go here with who's going to be the defense player of the year for the Buffalo Bills. I like a guy who can give us extra possessions, and right now the guy leading the way for the Buffalo Bills, that's Tre'Davious White, and that's why I have him as my defensive player of the year. You move over to the offensive side of the ball. Who is that offensive player of the year? And again, I feel like this could definitely go to Devin Singletary, but again, I'm not going to use the same player twice as some do. I'm going to go with a different route here. An offensive player of the year, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. Josh Allen completing 60.9, almost 61% of his passes, a huge increase from last season. He's had 2 games now where he's thrown for 70% or more completion percentage. You're talking about 1,653 yards, just over 206 yards per game. Not exactly what you want to see from a star quarterback. But again, this is Buffalo. We do things a little bit differently. And as long as we come away with the W, that's all that matters. And also, when you think about Josh Allen, you have to say he has the highest QBR of any qualifying quarterback in the 4th quarter. And like I said during my live stream, that includes Deshaun Watson, that includes Tom Brady, that includes Drew Brees, that includes all the guys you want to talk about, includes all of them. He leads the league in QBR in the 4th quarter. So give Josh Allen the nod at Offensive Player of the Year. Currently, like I said, 10 touchdowns now, 7 interceptions. Hasn't thrown an interception in 3 straight games. So improvement around the board. And then you talk about the 61 rushing carries, 247 yards on the ground. That's good for 4 yards per carry. And then 4 touchdowns as well. Doing his work to get the job done, and again, get those W's here in Buffalo as the Bills are, again, 6-2, looking to have a good push here to make the playoffs. And then my MVP for the Buffalo Bills, without me saying it, I hope you guys kind of guess who it is. I think it's kind of obvious to some degree who my MVP is for the Buffalo Bills. Again, you could put Devin Singletary in here. Absolutely could. You could put Devin Singletary in the MVP category. You could put him in the Offensive Player of the Year category and the Offensive Rookie of the Year, because that's the kind of impact he's had so far for the Buffalo Bills. But I'm going to talk about another new pickup for the Buffalo Bills as my MVP for him so far this season. The guy that we picked up during free agency, and that's going to be John Brown. John Brown, again, as I talked about with Trey White, when things happen is what matters as well. And you think about back to week 1, right? Week 1, we're trailing 16-0 at one point to the New York, New Jersey Jets. Get back to 16-10, and then who scores that game-winning touchdown? That's right, John Brown. Now, we would love to see John Brown get in the end zone more. He currently only has 2 touchdowns on the season, but he's top 15 in the league in receiving yards. When was the last time the Buffalo Bills had a receiver in the top 15 in receiving yards in the NFL? I don't remember. Probably back Stevie Johnson, maybe even before that. Top 20 in the league in receptions. When was the last time the Bills had someone after 8 games who was top 20 in the league in receptions? It's probably been a while there too. But you're talking about a guy who has 42 receptions, that's 17th in the NFL, and 603 yards, 15th in the NFL. I'm talking about a guy who's going to, if he keeps this up, is going to have over 1,200 receiving yards, I should say, for the Buffalo Bills this season. Again, would love to see him get in the end zone more. Again, only those 2 touchdowns. But what matters is that he's getting us downfield. He's getting open when Josh Allen is scrambling, so that's very important too. He's making some key catches, right? Those rollout passes from Josh Allen seem to always go to John Brown, because John Brown seems to find himself getting open. He knows where the sideline is, has a couple catches where he's tiptoed on the sideline already this season. So really a good season for John Brown and a good season for our Buffalo Bills. 6-2 at the halfway point. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section. Who's your MVP? Who's your offensive and defensive player of the year? Who's your offensive and defensive rookie of the year? Who's your comeback player? Who is your biggest surprise? And who's your biggest disappointment? Like I said, mine was Zay Jones, but he's off the team now, so you can say maybe Tyler Kroft, put him in there too. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, those are my mid-season awards for the Buffalo Bills. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, if you're not already subscribed to Bill-ievers Talk, guys, hit that subscribe button. Not only is Bill-ievers Talk teaming up with hashtag sports, Mario Paul over hashtag sports, to give you the best live play-by-play reaction coverage to every single Buffalo Bills game, Believers Talk has also teamed up with BewareTheStampede.com. Go to BewareTheStampede.com for all of your Buffalo Bills news. We're talking about roster news, salary cap information, stadium information, Hall of Famers. It's all right there, one-stop shop. You can find me over there as well, so stop by BewareTheStampede.com for your Buffalo Bills information. Again, guys, hit that subscribe button, like this video. Let me know who you think wins your midseason awards for the Buffalo Bills. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.